Okay, council will call this meeting to order. You could rise for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. As a reminder, if you could please silence your cell phones, electronic devices. Has everybody had an opportunity to, well, first of all, we got some of the candidates that won from last night's election. Welcome. Congratulations. To those that came up a little bit short, I appreciate your efforts. I know it's not easy running for public office. It takes a lot of effort and time, and some people don't understand that. But good luck to you in the fall. The minutes. Has everybody had an opportunity to review the minutes? Are there any additions or corrections? Is there a motion to approve them?
So moved.
Motion to approve, second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Minutes are approved. Is there any mail that anybody has to share with the council? If not, move along. County Attorney, Mr. Baker, do you have anything for us?
I have nothing to report.
Thank you. Shirley, do you have anything for your committee?
I do have the information that we had the first safety, or the first training session for the AED and CPR. So I believe have 6 people that are now trained in addition to the health department that are trained. And so I believe we will be putting up, there's already one of the AED devices in the health department, so we'll be adding one device possibly right out here next to the fire extinguisher, so it's visible when people come in, easy to grab, and then one on the 3rd floor, so we would have one on each of the 3 floors. There are additional people that are interested in taking the class, and so I think we will be scheduling one more at least class, and Troy Tipton is the one that has arranged the training for us, so we'll have our next subcommittee meeting of the safety and wellness group on Friday.
Okay.
I think that's at 9:30.
All right. Appreciate your efforts and all those that are helping you.
I think we just need to look with different eyes. The people here on the council, I think we look with dollars and cents, but I think we need to look at ways that we can make every place in the building as safe as we can, and avoid anything that would cause any issues that would contribute to accidents. Just look at it from a safety lens.
Okay. I agree. Appreciate it. Mr. Strong, you have some information to share with us tonight, I believe.
I have a report to the Budget and Finance Committee. You want me to give it, or you want to present it?
No, you put it together. You got the good news.
Well, I do have, you all have a copy of this Budget and Finance Committee report. And Mark and I'll be at Mike Winter and myself have met, come up with this. I want to thank the county auditor for her assistance in putting this together. A lot of fact-finding, it depends on her office. So even though you have this in front of you, I'm going to read through this for the sake of those in the audience and those that will listen at home. This is a report that I really am not going to enjoy giving, but it is what it is. This is a summary report for budget year 2015. At the close of business on 12/31/2015, the official record of the county auditor showed the ending balance of the county's general fund decreased from a beginning balance of $933,985 to an ending balance of $470,000. a deflict of $463,984.51. Examination of records finds that $130,293.66 of this amount is due to an error in receipts for pauper attorney reimbursements from the state, making the deflict a real $333,690.85. The committee finds this deflict is due in part to additional appropriations for $5,500 to treasurer part-time, $1,225 sheriff for postage, $28,280 a coroner for pathologist expenses, $2,786.18 for administrative assistant, and I've erred there. That is for, it comes from the prosecutor's office, is where that was at. $25,000 for prisoner meals at the jail, $25,000 for institutional supplies at the jail, $400 for BZA members, $2,422 for 4D program, $50,000 pauper attorney fees, for a total of $140,613.18 in total additional appropriations. I'd like to note here and call this to your attention that $128,280 of these additional appropriations, or 91.2% of our total additional appropriations, are directly related to criminal activity in the community that no one can accurately predict. Certainly the heroin epidemic, the heroin deaths and that sort of thing is the only reason that the coroner is having such huge expenses with pathology costs. Our overcrowded jail with the associated costs that goes with that, pauper attorney fees and all that. So, you know, this thing is really costing us a bunch of money. So, also, we have $30,288.52 in unappropriated expenses for interest, tax sale costs, insurance claims, and state call meeting expenses. $80,745 in unpaid Department of Correction payments owed by the state of Indiana for the last 7 months of 2015 for housing DOC prisoners at the jail. The state, at the end of last year, they were 7 months behind in paying, and we still haven't got it.
Has there been any time frame put to that when they might pay? Any idea?
It's to their convenience.
Yeah,
Well,
They seem to do so it helps their budget, not ours.
yeah.
I understand.
Several of our miscellaneous revenue sources are on the decline, and most notably, the vehicle excise taxes collected in 2015 were down $42,688.42 compared to the previous year. And while 87.1% of our general fund levy was collected in 2015, which is a pretty good number, by the way, the uncollected property tax still amounted to $594,156. And add to that $683,478 worth of lost revenue due to the circuit breaker tax caps imposed by the state of Indiana, and you can see where we really do have a large shortfall in revenue. So here's a historical look at the year-end balance of the county's general fund, beginning with 2010. I went back to 2010. The year-end balance that year was $2,624,555. 2011 $2,075,911, a loss of $548,643.35. 2012, year-end balance, $1,545,702, a loss of $530,209. 2013, $1,139,836, a loss of $405,866. 2014, $933,985, a loss of $205,851. 2015, our adjusted ending balance for 2015, $573,294, a loss of $333,690.85. Now, that is a loss, folks, of $2,051,261 in the general fund year-end balance in the last 5 years, in spite of all the cost-cutting and saving measures that we've taken since 2012. In 2014, we borrowed, for the first time, we borrowed $600,000 the first half of the year to meet expenses before the June draw. It's the first time we'd ever done that. So far this year, we've borrowed $1 million plus an advance draw of $200,000. It's $1.2 million so far this year already we've borrowed to meet our payroll and expenses in the first half of the year. So if our current trend continues through 2017, we will not be able to repay what we're borrowing, resulting in a default. Our financial condition is now critical. We are now just over 90 days away from budget hearings. We've got to fix a budget for 2017 very shortly. Hard decisions are going to have to be dealt with on both spending and revenue policies. This report is not all-inclusive of detail and is subject to revision. The committee notes record-keeping discrepancies in 2015 versus the prior year that may skew the accuracy of some accounts until a State Board of Accounts examination is completed. We will have to use the financial records as they stand today. So what I mean when I say that is there is some, the way some records were kept last year, it was a little bit different than they were before, and things are kind of hard to figure out. So this is the best we've been able to do, and it's still bad. It's just a bad situation. So that's our report. If there's any questions, I will try to answer them. Shirley.
At the top of this second page, the add to that $683,478 of lost revenue due to the circuit breaker tax caps. Is that $683,000 only last year's loss?
Yes, that's the impact of the that's the circuit breaker.
Right, I understand that, but my question is, since the circuit breaker caps went on, which was probably what, 4 years or 5 years ago? I think 4 years. So are we to assume that it was a similar loss each of those 4 years, or is this what we have accumulated as a loss since they started?
No, Shirley, that number is for 2015 only. And when the tax caps first started kicking in, the impact was, if I remember right, and I've got those figures somewhere, in the $300,000 range. So it keeps getting more and more every year.
My second comment, based on just that one paragraph right there, the uncollected property tax, in addition to the circuit breaker lost money. I wonder if the committee has thought of contacting UMBA. You know, the they just ended, and there was a change in the tax calculation revenue on farm ground. And I'm not certain exactly when we're going to see the effect of that, but it's kind of like another terrible dart heading our way.
Yeah,
And
I think that will start next year, 17.
I think that it
17.
behooves us. When we were sitting at this place 5 years ago, we had UMBA come in and make some recommendations. They gave a report, and I don't know that we need that formal of a report, but I would ask that we try to find out what the forecast is based on X number of acres times the new calculation, and how much additional shortage we're going to be looking at based on that.
I think there's some people at Purdue University that are working on this right now, on those calculations. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think the new value for farm ground is going to be $1,960 an acre. Is that
correct. That's correct.
Okay.
It's down about $100.
Yeah, that's certainly going to shift the tax burden in most counties. You take a county like Marion that has practically no farm ground left, it won't amount to much, but it will impact us considerably. We just can't catch a break.
I think there's a large percentage of the residential that are probably hitting the circuit breaker, and some of the farm ground even has hit the circuit breaker, and now, of course, I don't know where that's going to be. It should theoretically go back down, but the businesses too. So I'm just concerned about what that total dollar effect will be based on that $1,960.
Well, we'll find out eventually.
I think we need to find out sooner instead of later. Like you said, we're about to start meeting for the budget for 2017.
It's right around the corner. So,
And I know they won't just pull that number out of the hat. There's some calculations, but
we're not offering any recommendations in this report, but there is going to be a lot to discuss. But I would just want everyone, including the general public, to know what kind of situation we're in. And it's going to be tough. Toughest I've ever seen.
Dale, I'd like to also tell the newly elected potential candidates down the road that they highly be at these new budget hearings, because they're going to be the ones that's going to have to deal with the budget in 2017. And two of them are here tonight, so I'm glad both of you came, because I think maybe they got some input that can help. Because as you know, nobody from the public attends the budget hearings.
No, they don't.
And nobody. And we're going to need all the help we can get, because
Well, I know that it's very easy for anyone to say, well, all you have to do is cut out the fat. Stop wasting money.
no fat.
And
There is no fat.
if anyone had attended budget hearings, they would rethink that, because I know certainly our department heads and office holders here in the courthouse really get mad at us every year, because we are never able to give everyone what they want.
That's right.
So, I guess waste is in the eyes of the beholder.
Yes.
But like we said before, you can't simply cut your way to prosperity. And pretty soon there's nothing left. And it does take personnel to run this local government.
I mean, I know there's a lot of other counties that are in the same boat, probably have uncollected taxes like we do. And obviously have lost revenues due to
circuit breakers, but I know small counties and rural counties are the ones that are really in dire straits, over this. And I don't think it will ever hit home with people in Indianapolis until this starts affecting Marion County and the counties around it. Because you remember a few years back when they had that tax problem, and they started going to these circuit breakers, and once it finally hit up there, they did something about it.
Yes, they did.
But until then, they didn't.
We're stuck with what we got.
We're stuck with what we got.
Well, that's our report. Mike, do you or Mark have anything you want to add to this?
Mark, I'll let you go first if you have anything.
Well, I'm pretty sure that he covered it all. There ain't much that he left out.
First of all, I'd like to thank Councilman Strong for his effort in putting this together. I know this took a lot of time. And I think as a county, we're fortunate to have somebody like Councilman Strong on the council. He's very dedicated to the budget. He's very conscientious about the budget, and I appreciate that. And he's taught me a lot since I've come on in 2013. With that being said, we met last Monday as a budget committee with Commissioner Jackson. And one of the things in closing that Commissioner Jackson asked us, he said, if there's anything that we can do as commissioners to help, please don't hesitate to ask. We'll do whatever we can to ask or to help. And I've thought about that, and I've thought about a lot of things lately about what we can do and what we've asked the county employees to give up and to sacrifice and department heads to sacrifice. And I think it's time that we as a council and as a commissioner's leadership look in the mirror and say, what can we do to tighten the belts up? A lot of counties, as I think Councilman Plum stated, are in the same similar position, but they've had to make some difficult decisions. I brought this up with the commissioners this morning. This is my viewpoint only. This is only from me, Mike Wenta. I'm not speaking on behalf of the council, I'm speaking on behalf of me. But I think we have to look at our insurance that we receive, that we are entitled to as commissioners and councilmen. I think that's something we can't afford. If everybody took advantage of it, that would be $143,000 a year in additional income that we'd have to pay out. I'm not begrudging anybody that may or may not partake of it. They're entitled to it. They're within their rights to partake of it. I propose to the commissioners that anybody that currently is taking advantage of this opportunity, that they get grandfather claused in at the start of the year when the new people come into office, that it be gone, either suspended or eliminated. I don't think we can ask the employees to continue to take, not get pay raises and to, difficult working conditions and situations. Again, I am not saying this for a pat on the back or an attaboy or anything. I think it needs to be done. It is an elephant in the room staring us square in the face. It's been mentioned during this past campaign. You have one candidate says that if she's elected that she's not going to take any county provided health insurance. People are aware of it. If we don't think that people are aware of it, we're fooling ourselves. There was a copy of the Brookfield, of the newspaper in my inbox here. I can't find it right here. That was left anonymously. That's got the article highlighted from the opinion section, saying that even though it's Franklin County, they're getting $12,000, per councilman. You look do the math there. I know it's not going to be a popular topic, and I may not be the most popular councilman, but I'm not here for a popularity contest. I'm here to do what we can to save money, and I think we have to do it. And seriously think about it. People need to understand that the council controls the finances of some aspects, but not of everything. This is one of these things that we do not control the finances on. We cannot defund it. We cannot stop funding it because it is mandated by the commissioners. We have to provide it by law. There are certain things in the handbook that we could do to help ourselves too, such as paid vacation. When somebody leaves and they've been here, as long as they've been here 6 months working for the county continuously, after that, if they've been working one day in 2016 and they got 4 weeks vacation, they get all 4 weeks vacation, period, no questions asked. I don't get that luxury. My vacation is accrued over a period of time. I think we need to look at that as a county, adjust the handbook. And if we provide health insurance to couples and the spouse works somewhere else and they have health insurance and they come on here, then we look at that they have to take that person's health insurance. What it would save the county, I don't know. We have to be creative in how we save money. And we have to think about it. We have to look hard at ourselves and everything. We've asked department heads for years. You know, we're questioning $5,000 for stamps. Do you really need $5,000 for stamps? I mean, that's what it's gotten to, that level of detail. You know, can you get by with $4,500 so we can save $500? We've sat in these budget meetings racking our brains trying to come up with $130,000 to try and get us close to being a balanced budget. We try hard. We may not get everything right as a council. We may not hit it all, you know, hit a home run every time. But I believe everybody here in this council is committed to trying to do the right thing. They're all good people on the council that are serving. They try their hardest. But we've got to do what we've got to do. And we're not a prosperous county anymore, as Dale pointed out. I mean, his math is right. We're going down almost $470,000, $450,000 a year. And we've got to face it next year that we've got some serious problems. We've got some hard decisions to make. And we can't cut our way out of it by cutting people and reducing services to the county. I mean, we're supposed to go to one person in the recorder's office. I'm not suggesting that. I'm not hinting that. But they're down to 2 people. You know, we can't do that kind of stuff. You know, if she's got, if anybody has to go to a state mandated meeting, who's going to run the office? Who are our county residents going to go to? So that is my suggestion. I've brought it up to the commissioners for them to take into consideration. I feel it as a responsibility as the county council president to take that leadership stance and to say that. And I've mentioned it for the past 3 years. And again, it's not to try and embarrass anybody or to call anybody out. It's not it. I don't care about what is in the past. You know, this is a benefit that's offered to anybody running for office, and they're well within their rights to take advantage of that, and everybody's situation is different. I fortunately am blessed that I do have health insurance. And my wife said when I was appointed in this position in 2013, well, what will you do if you lose your job? You know, and I lose my health insurance. I'm not taking it. I can't look a part-time employee in the eye and say that I deserve it more than you do. Can't do it. That's just me. I'm not taking a moral high ground. That's just me. And I think we as a council need to think about it. And as commissioners. And, you know, I may have faced that elephant that's facing us, but you're going to hear it in this campaign, I guarantee it. And that's all I have to say on that. Anybody have anything to add to that?
Well, Mike, I agree with you. I think we should go another step. That is, don't grandfather it in. First year I was on council, I asked that all salaries, health insurance be taken away from the commissioners and council, and that fell on deaf ears. And I was soundly told, no, we're not going to do that. I suggested that on the first year.
I can't in good conscience do that to somebody that's currently serving that may depend on that life,
No,
that health.
I disagree.
I
I pay right now. I could have got on it for my wife and I, but I didn't. I kept it at where I work. I pay $800 out of my own pocket every month. But I felt it was the right thing to do, and I've done it ever since. I've never taken health
And
insurance.
we're all going to have our own opinions on this, and I get
know.
it, and I respect your opinion, and I respect anybody's opinion, and I am not ever going to suggest that. I hear where you're coming from. I hear it. I get it. But on the same token, I want to be sympathetic and empathetic to those that are in different situations than I am. Not everybody's fortunate to be in the situation I am, where I have 2 health insurances, you know, and I can say that. But on the same token, I want to be a man of my word and be counted on for that. I don't do this for the pay. $368 a month is not making me rich. I mean, I'll donate to the kids that I coach, their equipment, through the fire department for stuff that I need that the department doesn't have to pay for. Again, this is just my personal convictions. This is not meant to be a reflection of the council as a whole. And they can speak to how they want on this subject, but I feel very strongly about it, and I have for a very long time. So, and if I've offended anybody on the council, I apologize sincerely. That was not my intention.
Were you aware, I don't know, Dale or the rest of the council, but I received an email, the Association of Indiana Counties. They have, I guess, their 2 months consideration about changing the law about overtime. When people are subject to overtime, it was at a level of, say, $24,000 as opposed to the change to $52,000. And in the past, you know, it was not such an issue because of that level, but they're going to change that, or the law has changed maybe. It's not, they are going to change that, and that we have employees that will be subject to additional overtime pay based on the changes. So I think I mentioned earlier in the year too, and part of it has to do with the safety and the wellness. Part of it has to do with, we made a trip, Michelle Dudley and Leota and myself, we made a trip to Muncie and talked about several of the laws that have changed, and there's a need to address several different places in the employee manual, and really probably the employee manuals, for the courthouse employees, for the highway department, and for the 9/11 or 24/7 folks. So all of those are going to touch the budget at some place in time. And I think we need to schedule a time to review the manuals with, again, that attorney from Muncie that has helped us put them together to begin with, because it's just like we're not certain how we're treading, and all of these things are going to come together with a consequence, and we need to be aware of them before we put together the budget. And there is an issue about one payroll that has to be made that wasn't in last year's budget. So we might as well, I think it's important we get every single thing on the table, that, you know, it's like climbing a mountain.
Well, that's part of what I said, we need to be creative, you know, this year. It's not just looking at the numbers from the different departments, it's looking at the handbook now and seeing where we can save money, what we can do to generate, because we can either, there's only three ways we can do it. We can either spend our way out of it, or, you know, bring in more revenue, or a combination of the both, you know, and cut. I mean, I talked to Mr. Baker in the hallway, Mark, and legally I don't think we could just stop funding it, because people took the position with the premise that there were benefits, and if they've partaken of that, then I think legally we were obligated to continue to fulfill that requirement. But again, this is a part of thinking outside the box that we have to do, and be as frugal as we can, and just be as smart as we can. I have nothing further on that unless somebody else does. We'll move on.
I would like to ask one question, and perhaps this is a question to Jane. And I know we all wanted to give her an opportunity to get her feet on the ground, and appreciate the fact that she's jumped in to help us solve some of these issues. But there was a part-time person hired in the auditor's office to help us perhaps uncover some missed opportunities in the exemptions. And I don't know I know there was training that was going on beforehand, and whether or not that process has started. Have you seen any benefits at all?
Not, no.
I think that part of that is just the excellent job the auditor's office has done in the past, you know, to watch and make sure. And I remember there was a time when letters came out absolutely describing to everybody what exemptions they could have and what they had to do to qualify. So I think that probably helped a lot of the problems. The other thing that,
in Jane's defense a little bit, you know, in working with Dale and Mark on this report, she's had to do a lot of translating, shall we say, of the records to find out what was what and where this was put in. So that may have taken up more of her time than normally. And everybody has their own way of doing things, and trying to reverse engineer what somebody else did, and when it's not maybe the way you would do it, takes time and effort. So I think that's part of it, but I think it's on her slate of things to accomplish.
right, and certainly I didn't mean to say
No, I
that it
know.
wasn't being done.
I
I
know.
just don't
That's
think
fine.
that there's a lot of revenue. We thought there was going to be some opportunity, but we're not going to get rich with that process.
No.
The other thing that came up since our budget, you know, we looked at the taxes and the appeals, the tax appeals, and those that were still waiting for a revision or an adjustment based on the appeal. And then, of course, you know, Jane may have to write a check based on the results of that, which doesn't help the situation either. But one thing, when we were looking at all those databases, I think there's nothing you can do about the circuit breaker caps. That's in the Constitution, unless our legislatures change the Constitution again, or we vote to change the Constitution. But I think that of those 14,000 properties, there's a possibility that some of them, that there are real live errors. I have caught errors in the past, and you go and check, and you get the error corrected. So I believe that, you know, there are some errors in, we've had like 3 different groups or companies that have helped with the reassessment over the years. And it's just sometimes when you're transposing records from one to another, you'll leave a 0 out or put an extra 0 in, and so there are errors. I think that we should take a look at the data and see if it's worthwhile pursuing that, just like Jane's office, the auditor's office, is pursuing the exemptions, just to make sure that, for instance, I'll just use a wild example, Hanson Meadows might have 50 homes, and the 50 homes in Hanson Meadows, you know, might average 800 square feet to 1,500 square feet. And based on that, the assessed is X. And you look for the outliers. It's statistical processing to look for errors. And you do that in manufacturing all the time. And I think maybe it's time to look over there. You know, how many errors would we find? Could we find 1/2 of 1%, and how much revenue that might be? But I think that it's something we need to look at too. Like Mike says, we have to be creative.
Okay, well, we have no old business, and Frank is not going to be here.
We got another committee report. You want to do that with Mark?
Yeah, that's fine.
One trip out, you want to start it off?
Were you talking about the
Highway
highway
Park,
garage?
yes.
Do we want to talk about that now, or do we want
I-
to do that later, Mike, under new business?
Get to your new business, but be careful what we say, because we don't know if it's going to go to litigation.
I understand.
And I would be very careful what we say, and I think Attorney Baker needs to advise us on that, if we need to not discuss it.
I wouldn't recommend anything that's in litigation or potential for litigation. There's room to discuss those things in executive session,
Okay.
legally.
That'd be my recommendation. I don't want to do
At
anything.
thi- Right now, at this time, you're saying we should wait.
Pardon me?
At this time, we should wait and not discuss it.
Yes, I would,
right now.
well, unless you choose to do so, of course. But I wouldn't discuss anything involving litigation. You could hurt your case quite a bit.
Yeah.
Uh,
Okay, well, answer this, you might know, since the commissioners are here, I know they're trying to set up a meeting with the design firm. Have they got a date set yet?
Not to my knowledge.
Okay.
To my knowledge,
Frank's mentioned it.
he's gotten back with Frank, and I think they're trying to finalize a date.
Okay. Well, I think, I agree, I think we probably should not discuss it right now because because as we start talking, who knows what's going to say, and once you say it, you can't back up.
That's right.
So maybe we better
We may have hurt ourselves, we may shoot ourselves in the foot. We've done enough of that as a county. Front steps, other things, we just do things bass backwards. I don't understand why, but we do.
Yeah.
So let's just do this one right, would be my recommendation. Of course, you don't, like Attorney Baker said, you don't have to listen, you can do what you want. But if not, we'll move on to new business, Michelle Dudley.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
the packet that I prepared for you, the cover letter there is just to advise that we received word back last week on the Community Corrections Space Grant and the additional House Enrolled Act 1006 funding. And Fayette County has been granted a total of $791,064 for the year, July 1 of 16 through June 30 of 17. That will be dispersed as $619,864 for adult community corrections and $171,200 allocated for the probation department. To summarize that, community corrections was authorized funding for the therapeutic community at the jail, complete funding that was requested for that, and partial funding on the work release therapeutic community. And we are to hire one case manager for case management, one case manager, cognitive behavioral therapy facilitator. Probation was awarded funding to hire 2 full-time probation officers and funds for data processing equipment and office furniture and training. To elaborate on that, the funding cannot be used to supplant existing staff. They have to hire 2 full-time probation officers, and I have to hire 2 full-time case managers. When I started in 2012, our grant was for $427,180. So we've almost doubled that base grant funding. And in addition to that, we've funded through TANF grant another $219,713, which total grant funding in the last, since 2012, we've added 7 full-time positions to Fayette County and numerous part-time positions to the TANF funding.
I'll get a question real quick. You went to 791,000 for 16, 17, and you started, like you said, in 12 at 420, 427.
Yes.
Was that a general increase each year, or is this just a huge jump?
It's a huge jump.
It is.
Last year, because of House Bill 1006, generated extra funds, and both community corrections and probation applied for funding, and we were granted just under 90,000. We were granted funding for full-time staff, and probation was granted funding for a full-time staff for a liaison between the 2 departments. So, and then this year there was even more funding. I provided Dale with a complete list of how that was broken down. I'd seen him earlier, and I believe there was like 20 million and 29 million was applied for. Every county had the opportunity, and there was a breakdown on how many was funded for community corrections, statewide, probation, prosecutors diversion fund, court recidivism, and jail treatment. And that amount will go into our base grant from now. It's permanent. It goes into the base funding for the next grant cycle.
So for the staff, it covers salary and benefits.
And
So I want to clarify, like I did this morning, for viewers at home that may not have been watching or paying attention or hear, some of our candidates understand, because it's interesting when you hear some of the candidates talking that they're going to do this or going to do that, and I was probably guilty of it too, until you get in here and you really understand what you can and can't do. The 7 positions that were added, and we're talking about our doom and gloom as a county, has nothing to do with the county general. That's funding, this grant money covers those salary positions that they are able to hire because of this grant money. It has nothing to do with the county general. So when we're talking about, we're struggling to make ends meet, first of all, I think Michelle's in the wrong department. She needs to be in this chair because she's almost doubled her grant money.
No thanks.
And she's working magic. She's doing a great job. But I want the public to understand that these are 2 separate entities. and that you're funded by the grant money, and that's specifically what it is to be used for and nothing else. So I just want to clarify that.
The second page, in the next about 10 pages there, is community corrections budget. I don't do the budget forms like the rest of the departments do because this is my budget form and it's a lot more detailed. The cover page on that is the budget summary, and it says the total base funds is $481,564, and then the House Enrolled Act 1006 that we were granted for this coming fund year is $138,300, and then project income I've budgeted $471,691.85 for my department out of project income. And that also is not tax dollars, that is project income that we're bringing in for daily user fees and so forth. And probations is totaled on there too. I don't have the individual breakdown for theirs included in this packet. It was given to the auditor this morning. Come along on those same lines, I will need to get 144s approved for the new positions and also for the raises. For our raises go into effect July 1 through June 30. You'll see a letter dated January 26th of 2016 when we submitted the grant that the advisory board who sets our salaries is in full support of the budget that was submitted on salaries. There's also the next letters from the commissioners. I've attached a 144, and you'll see at the top I've marked out calendar year, put fiscal year down. This will be our salaries. I would ask that this 144 be approved. It is by recommendation of the advisory board beginning July 1, and I did put the bi-weekly rate on there also after the confusion over the payroll issue last year, because Kent Irwin did recommend that we use bi-weekly, so I did break that down into the bi-weekly rate. I would ask that 144 be approved, and the next 144 has 2 employees on it, case manager Bev Root and a case manager CBT William Derrick Harrison. I would ask that these are for the 2 new appropriation of funds for the House Bill 1006. I would move Bev from the TANF grant now over to my base grant, and Derrick Harrison is currently part-time. I would move him up into the full-time position for the jail therapeutic community at the jail. He will be instructing that. And the third 144 will be to replace Bev on the TANF grant. I still would have a full-time position open, and these would all take effect, all 3 of them, July 1. I will be taking applications for the TANF position. Behind that, you'll see the salary schedules, which you guys got last year, and my board approved that. And then the statutes, again, I always include those with you that govern, our salaries are governed by the advisory board, but council does need to approve the 144s by
More or less
statute.
it's a technicality.
Yes. And then the last page, just to be up front, is how the raises were determined, and has current salary, the new salary, the range by the schedule, and how we came to that was we do evidence-based job performance. I went down and marked what I thought everybody's salary should be based on their job performance, and there was absolutely no discussion. I gave it to the assistant director, Steve Beals, asked him to do the same thing. we were identical on 5 of the 10 salaries, and I think the most we were off was like $200 or $300 on any other one. So what I did was I just split the difference and cut it right down the middle. So ballpark it, we were all right there, seeing the same thing with no discussion at all. I did not put any down for myself. Steve did mine, and it was taken off of my job performance evaluation, which is given to 3 to 4 employees. They fill out mine, and then Steve averages my score from my staff. So I don't know what they've scored me, I only know what the average is. And those are done by policies and procedures, quality assurance through IDOC.
Okay. Any questions for Michelle?
Michelle, when we talked earlier today, I forgot to ask this, the 2 new probation officers, will they work for you or will they work for Jenna?
They work for Jenna.
And you're just gonna, your grant will pay their salary?
Yeah, it's all has to come by law, 1006, all the grant funding, whether it would have been for the courts or prosecutors, has to come through my base grant, and then they just break it out
Okay.
to where it should be. But on that same premise, House Bill 1006 had a lot of other things with it, such as a collaboration plan. By law, probation and community corrections had to have a collaboration plan for services so that we work together, we don't duplicate services, and we both know what each are doing. So we've got like I think it's 13-page collaboration plan that the courts were involved in, as far as who's going to do what and how we're going to quality assurance check everything. And we submitted that last year, and we updated it in January and included the sheriff's department in it too with Joey, because it's evidence-based practices. It came to us first, then it went to probation, and it's going to the jail. We've already been told that. So we're just trying to get a step ahead and get Joey involved. Both judges were involved in it, and Jenna and I.
Yeah, they just opened up the funding for probation officer salaries at the end of last year. We had a partial part of the grant, and then this grant that we got, the 2 positions are for the fiscal year for them, 2016, 2017. So it's a lot of changes for us because we have to do the evidence-based, everything that Michelle's doing. And so my office, we're going through tons of training and coming up with quality assurance and policies and procedures that match. It's going to be a big shift for us, and we're just in the process of doing that. I think it's going to take a while, but DOC is very supportive and in providing us free training and stuff like that. But you know, those numbers when I submitted the grant of adding the 2 probation officers were so grossly understaffed based on, you know, you mentioned earlier in the budget that a lot of the increases are due to criminal activity. And the whole crux of the 1006 was that you can't send FD, F6 felony offenders to prison, and probation's it's gonna trickle down. Our numbers are gonna get higher, and we're not even close. Now we are with the 2 more probation officers. The numbers to do it adequately, to supervise adequately the probationers so they don't keep getting rearrested and causing more money for the jails. The whole point is that we better supervise the probationers and are able to do that, and we're going to do tons of training for that and certification. So I'm excited about it, but it's a big change. So
Well, it's easy for me to see both of you have already got a lot of work invested in this.
A lot.
Going
It's
forward,
torture,
it is going to be, yeah, it's going to be very profitable though for both your departments going forward, for sure. And I just wish that it was as easy for the county to qualify for, you know,
Crime pays for them.
yeah, crime does pay for them, sure.
Hurts
But,
us.
Our workload, I can speak on behalf of my department already. From when I came over to now, our workload, or their workload has increased probably 4 times.
Oh, I imagine.
Because of the evidence-based, and it's only getting worse. And now going into this jail therapeutic community, IRAS is a big thing, the Indiana Risk Assessment Score. Anyone that comes onto a community corrections program has to have an IRAS. Felons have to have an IRAS on their, to determine their pre-sentence investigation prior to going to court.
Which is a risk assessment, their risks to reoffend.
Now, because of this jail treatment, anybody over here that is even interested in going into the jail treatment therapeutic community at the jail, I am going to have my staff assess each one of those persons, which takes an hour to an hour and a half. Then it has to be uploaded to Insight and into our case management system. You're talking 5 hours work for each person we assess at the jail, and basically everybody at the jail is going to get assessed. So our workload is going up even more than what these 2 staff members could cover on it. But we'll figure out a way to work it out. Jen and I are working together on cognitive behavioral therapy classes. We just had our Inside Out Dad training last week. We trained, I think there was 21 or 22. Kate was in that training. It involved jail staff, community corrections staff, probation staff, and volunteers from the community. So those programs will be going in at probation, community corrections, jail, and probably some of the churches, the House of Ruth, One Cent Ministries, House of David, and that's the same on our Living in Balance training. That training alone was $17,000 that TANF grant paid for. That substance abuse training. We have initiated it at Community Corrections. We've had an excellent response to it, and I've had it in the jail for about 2 months now. So we're getting more services out there, hopefully to lower this recidivism in the criminal activity. So hopefully this is going to help bring some of those other costs associated with the criminal justice down. That's our hope.
Yeah, it's been nice, especially since Michelle got the TANF grant, that probation, we can refer any of our people to any of her programs, and we didn't have a lot to refer to, resources. So that's been nice to have that. And the other thing I like about evidence-based is you're continually changing. You have to do an annual review to see what your needs are. So if there's another issue 2 years from now that's not about heroin, it could be any other need. You're supposed to change with the times. You don't stay the same. You change. You look at what you need, and you're required to do an annual reviews. It makes sense. We've done things for so long in probation, the same thing every year, and some things, you know, you find out you really don't need to be doing anymore. It had a purpose at the beginning, but it doesn't now. So it's really been nice to have the programs to refer our probationers to, because we have over 500 people on probation right now.
And IT has been working on a concept that Jenna and I came up with, because we have a shared drive because of our case management system. So Michael has been developing on our shared drive a folder where as soon as we get a sentencing order from the court, if they're ordered for thinking for a change or parenting classes or living skills classes, we will go in and enter it on that spreadsheet. They have access. They can enter their probation. They got somebody on probation that maybe had a domestic call from police over the weekend, and they want to get some parenting classes in there. They could put them in that on that spreadsheet under a parenting class. There's a date in there when we can start that class with them, so that any of us in community corrections or probation can open that file up and see who's in what classes, who's completed what classes, who needs classes, and it'll have the end time like that they have to complete by it for their probation end date. So that is really going to help a lot of us. Right now, we just got it in books alphabetically, and we try to flip through them. And
Keep up with them.
So we need to approve the 144s.
Yeah, do you need your salary schedule approved tonight?
I am not asking on the probation, on the 2 probation officers, I've not submitted the 144 yet. I'll probably come back in June in order to do that.
Okay, you need 2 144s approved tonight, right?
the 3,
Three?
Thanks,
Okay.
3, and then I'll get with Jane because the salary ordinance will have to be amended next month for whatever's approved tonight.
Okay.
And I spoke earlier to Jane about that.
Okay, you want to amend your salary schedule to fit the 144s that you need approved tonight.
Just, my salary schedule's already approved by advisory board. I just need the 144s approved.
We need to amend the salary.
And they won't go in effect until July 1, all of them.
Okay, we need to amend our salary
For next month.
for next month.
We can do that next
With her
month.
new changes.
Next month.
Sorry?
You can do that next month, can't
Right.
144s we can do now.
Yeah.
we? Yeah, but I don't have paperwork for 144s.
Yeah, you got it in your
Yeah,
packet.
it's the legal size pages. You should.
You know, that was for,
I've got another copy if you need it, Mark.
this
Make a motion that we get Mark phone glasses.
is for the nurse.
It was part of what was, we didn't hear that.
I
Oh,
don't have
it's
that.
It's part of what was in the folder.
Mark, I stapled it. I made everyone a
Back all your
copy.
stuff.
Yeah,
Okay,
it was separate.
all right.
I'll move to approve all 3 the Form 144s that Michelle has presented in this packet here tonight.
We have a motion to approve the 3 144s that Michelle Dudley has presented tonight. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Shirley. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Ayes have it, 6 ayes.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. We have no additional appropriations, nor will we till after July 1st. That's a good and bad thing, I guess. Bad because our finances have dictated that, good because we don't have to look at it. Transfers, 911.
Good evening. It was brought to my attention by the State Wireless 911 Board that back in 2000, for the fiscal year 2013, we used to combine the wireless surcharge money along with the monies from the county, or from the city. We used to combine those all in one fund. That was when State Board of Accounts and the Wireless Board were not talking very well. Basically, they dinged us for commingling funds in the amount of $1,720.47 that they, even though we were putting our city share into the wireless money, we have to reimburse the wireless money that. So I'm requesting a transfer from the city fund of 4912 to our wireless fund of 1222 to get into compliance with the fiscal year of 2013.
Any discussion? You want to comment on that?
I thought we had already taken care of all that stuff last year, but they found another little thing to,
Well, apparently the letter that was sent was back in 2014, and it didn't make it over to me.
it was sent to
I believe the auditor's office.
auditor's office, and it didn't make it over to your office.
Yes,
And that was back in 14.
yes,
Okay. Well, this will clean it up then, won't it?
yes, yes.
Okay. I'll move to approve the transfer request from 911 for $1,720.47. Second.
Seconded by Jim. Any further discussion? We have a motion on the floor to approve the transfer request in the amount of $1,720.47. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Ayes have it, motion carries. You might as well just stay up there for your 144. Unless you want to get down, get back up.
No, I'll stay up here. The last, not this morning, the prior commissioners meeting, I came in and I've got 2 part-timers approved. I just need your approval for those for the 144.
Discussion or motion to approve? Or motion to disapprove? Motion to do something.
I move to approve 144.
We have a motion to approve the 144 for 911 for 2 part-time employees. Second?
Second.
Seconded by Mr. Navi. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Ayes have it, motion carries.
Thank you.
And next, we have a transfer request from the commissioners. This is done because we cannot do an additional appropriation until July. This is to pay for coroner's autopsies. That's pretty self-explanatory. Want to talk about it, or you want to make a motion to?
I move that we transfer the $1,615.
I'll second, it's gotta be done.
Okay, right. We have a motion to approve and it's been seconded. All those in favor to approve the transfer request from the commissioners in the $1,615, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Ayes have it, motion carries. Last but not least, is the 144 for the jail, part-time nurse. I don't know if our auditor knows anything about this or can elaborate since our sheriff is not here, or if anybody else in the council is aware of it.
He has 2 part-time nurses now, and he said that there's a lot times he would like a 3rd person just to cover. Like if the other 2, both of them have other full-time jobs, and they just do the part-time nursing job on the side. So he wanted to hire a 3rd person to be able to cover like in emergencies if neither one of the other 2 were available.
Where's the money coming from? Has he got it?
It's in the budget already.
He's already got it?
Yeah.
Do you give me any idea of approximately how many hours that might consist of a week, or any idea?
I don't think he
Okay.
said.
It's just as a backup, right?
Yeah, it's a
Just as a
backup.
backup, I
Yeah, I
guess.
know.
I know you had Jennifer Counselor, I believe, is her
Yeah.
name, and she has left. So when they hired a new part-time person, I don't think she was willing to maybe work as many hours as Jennifer had worked.
You know, Mr. Flo wants me to stamp everything that we're in session.
Oh,
Better believe it,
okay.
Mike.
He'll be cracking down on me.
Transfer here.
Okay, is there a motion to approve or disapprove?
I move that we approve the 144 for additional part-time.
For second,
I'll second.
Mr. Wolf was seconded. Any further discussion on this 144? All those in favor of approving the 144 for a part-time nurse, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Ayes have it, motion carries. Any patron concerns? Approach the podium. State your name, rank, and serial number.
My name's Kay Riker Payton. Good evening, everyone. Just a patron comment. I wanted to say that I am in favor of what Mike presented earlier about the medical insurance coverage. That's it.
Okay,
Thanks.
thank you. Mr. Job, you have nothing to say? That's unusual.
Sit for it at least.
Just get on camera.
I pretty much agree with what Mike said too. In 3 weeks I'll be 65, no Medicare, so I'm good to go. But there are people that need it and so forth, like you said, everybody's situation is different, but yes, I agree that it needs to be looked at and addressed to each and every person on your board.
Okay.
So,
Like
and
again,
thank you very much for letting me be here.
Like again, I've mentioned that in my first year on this, and it fell on deaf ears. And Mr. Baker's already told us we probably can't do it. But I agree with you, 100%.
But there are people that might
I understand.
really being bad.
What we can't do is just halt it.
That's one of them things that takes a long time to soak in.
All right.
It's a bad thing when you stop and start something like that. It's just a tough decision.
Get late.
I know.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. If there's nothing further, and there's nothing further for us to sign as a council, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
I'll be a picture.
A motion to adjourn? Second?
Second.
Second, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Meeting adjourned.
Glad to make it on time.